in my eyes, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, in my life. I have been searching for something, but you were my dream. You're perfect, you're golden, golden. You're the light, your love. You're perfect, you're golden. You're the light, my love. When I breathe, when I swallow, caress I feel. When I listen, I hear the most beautiful music out of nowhere. You're perfect, you're golden. You're my light, my love. You're perfect, you're golden. You're my light, my love, my love. When I'm sad and dark, shallow and in doubt. When I'm trying my best to put one foot in front of the other. Perfect, you're golden. You're the light of my life. You're the love from forever. In every reflection, I'm perfect. So I keep looking at you to keep witnessing my perfection. In you and me. Always there, never leave, holding me, set me free, guiding light, your empathy, confidence to express it as me. You're perfect, you're golden. You're the light of my life, you're my love from forever. Your reflection, I'm perfect. So I keep looking at you to keep witnessing my perfection. In you I golden.
Be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Nothing in this universe will ever last. So if you're feeling low, this too shall pass. Nothing in this universe will ever last. So if you're feeling low, this too shall pass, because everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la. Even when the darkness seems to hide your way, after every night, a brand new day. Even when the darkness seems to hide your way, after every night, a brand new day, a brand new day, a sunny day. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la. Oh yeah. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la. Even when it all just seems to go your way, don't get attached, it's gonna change. Even when it all just seems to go your way, don't get attached, it's gonna change. But that's okay, because everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. It's not the end. It's not the end. So if you don't like the weather, don't worry. It's not the end. It's not the end. You don't like the government, it's alright. It's not the end. It's not the end. This is the end.
I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you.
I stand for love. I stand for peace. I stand for joy and for release. For what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope. I stand for you.
You know our world is in great pain. She needs our loving care again. But there are those who fail to see what we have done and what we need.
There is a cost for every act, and now there is no turning back. We burn a bridge, we bang a drum. It's time to rise, the time has come.
To stand for love, to stand for peace, to stand for joy and for release. For what is beautiful and true. To stand for hope, to stand for you. If you're thinking it's not urgent, that we've got more time to kill. If I'm not the one who'll change things, then for heaven's sake, who will? So I will move and I will climb that mountain one step at a time. I won't be swayed, I will not stop until we've made it to the top, where we will stand for love and peace. We'll stand for joy and for release. For what is beautiful and true. We'll stand for hope. We'll stand for you. What is beautiful and true. I stand for hope. I stand for you.
I've got the blues, quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah, quarantine blues. I wish this virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues, quarantine blues. On tour in Chicago that March day, on top of the world, things were going my way. Started hearing about a virus, a tragic ordeal. When I got back to Nashville, it was getting real. All my shows canceled left and right. Things were gonna get worse with no relief inside. I got the blues, quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues, quarantine blues. We started closing up shops, closed the schools, closed down the churches and the honky-tonks too. Closed the restaurants, closed the parks, rolling up the sidewalks after dark. The biggest thrills at the grocery store, fighting over toilet paper. And then I said, Ma, I got the blues, quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Hello, and welcome to the People of Diversity Sunday service. The People of Diversity believe there are many paths to one divinity. We are a multi-faith community. That means we have 9 different speakers from 9 different faith perspectives, and we have multiple musicians from all over the country, positive music artists, and we give this group of people a topic at the beginning of every 9 weeks. It's usually 1 or 2 words, and that's all we do. We just give them that little bit of information, and they send videos in, and we put Philip puts it all together and creates our Sunday services. So we have 9 weeks on a single topic. We are currently doing acceptance. So if you would like to help with this endeavor and keep our mission flowing, go to www.peopleofdiversity.org and push that donate button, and let's help keep this train rolling, because it's good.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, last week began our new topic of acceptance. Wiccan Oracle started us off, and Jennifer Farron did the music. Next week, or rather this week, we have Sensei David Vititoe, and his backup music will be Keith Leon. Next week we have Shaman Shannon Davis from the Chicana Center, and singing for her with her will be Donna Frost. All right, so directly following the morning services at from 11:45 to 12:15, we do a deep dive. That gives us all an opportunity to check in with each other, actually see each other on Zoom, talk to the speaker. In most cases, David will not be with us this week. He's still in recovery. We'll get to that later. The services then rebroadcast again at 5:45 in the evening, and that's what we post on the People of Diversity page. We pin that to the top so that you can go back to that and check it out anytime, or send back a friend. If you're going to get notifications, you must join the People of Diversity, one of the 2 pages, and receive your notifications from there. I think that's all I know.
Okay. Each week we bless a country, and if you have pictures or especially first-hand knowledge or facts about the country that we'll be blessing next week, send them to the email address below, and we will use them in our country blessing. Next week is...
Really cool place that has a funny name.
Next week is Bolivia. This week is Bhutan.
That's the one.
That's the one, yeah. And Bhutan is a really intriguing, interesting place. So, it's a Buddhist kingdom located on the eastern edge of the Himalayas in southern Asia. Its population is about 772,000 people, and the country is about half the size of Indiana or South Carolina. Here we go with some interesting things about Bhutan. Television and internet access were banned in the country until 1999. It's the first country in the world where the production and sale of tobacco are illegal, and so is smoking in public, although you can smoke in private. Tobacco can be used in private. They have a national dress code where men wear traditional knee-length garments and women wear ankle-length dresses. And that used to be pretty much mandatory, but in the last few years, since the 1990s, that dress code has been relaxed somewhat. More people are wearing jeans and t-shirts than ever before. They have a high-value, high-value, low-impact tourism. That means tourism is tightly controlled by the government. You cannot come in there on a tour package except for one of the tour groups that goes through the government. And it's expensive. It's $200 to $250 a day to come in. And the reason they do this is because they want to protect their culture and their environment from the outside world. So it's a really cool, interesting, beautiful place, but they do not promote tourism. Okay, what else we got? The highest unclimbed mountain in the world is in Bhutan, and it's almost 25,000 feet high. Bhutan is very poor. It's a very poor country, but they have free education and free health care. And here's the last one. Instead of measuring their gross domestic product, like most countries, the government measures their gross domestic happiness. It's based on 4 pillars: sustainable and equitable socio-economic development, environmental conservation, preservation and promotion of culture, and good governance. And that idea was so popular and so successful that it was adopted by the United Nations in 2011. So, really interesting place. Beautiful, very secluded by their own design, very isolated. So we hold the people of Bhutan in our hearts. We know that they want to be happy. They want to preserve their way of life. They don't want to be taken into the craziness of the outside world. I can respect that. So let's hold them in our hearts and say these words together. May peace prevail in Bhutan. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in me. Thank you. Okay. Keith Leon. Keith has been doing music for us for quite a while, and he actually is one of the musicians that comes on and gets on the services, and even when it's not his turn to sing, he comes on and he participates, and he's truly a good friend of the pod, and we appreciate and love Keith and Maura. Love having you guys around here when you're in town. So this is kind of an interesting week. Our speaker is David Vititoe, our Buddhist friend from the Open Mind Zen Center in Melbourne. And he turned his video in a couple of weeks early, because if you were on last week, you heard that Dave on October 5th donated one of his kidneys to someone that needed it. He was a very close match, and he is right now in St. Louis and recovering from that operation. Things apparently went well. I've been texting back and forth with him, and he seems to be doing well. I don't know if he's going to join us for the deep dive or not. He hasn't said one way or the other, when I'm not going to hold him to it, that's for sure. Right. So we want to send all of our love and appreciation to Dave, and that's just a huge sacrifice for someone to do, and he's just such a loving, awesome person. So let's go on with the show, and we'll see you on the other side.
I'm through asking where I'm going. I've been asking all my life, and I've grown tired of all this wondering. when everything seems to turn out right. So when my mind needs something to do, it wants to know the future, I whisper this: I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. And here goes nothing, I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything, it's all on the line, but I'm not afraid this time. Some say it's crazy, and some say naive, to close my eyes and take the lead. But I know better, 'cause I believe that even in the dark, my soul can see. So when my mind plays its usual games, oh, my answer is always the same. Here goes nothing, I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything, it's all on the line, but I'm not afraid this time. 'Cause here goes nothing, I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything, it's all on the line, but I'm not afraid this time. No, I'm not afraid this time. No, I'm not afraid this time. I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way.
Hello, my name is Sensei David Vititoe with Open Mind Zen down in Melbourne, Florida. Today, I thought I would give you a talk that I recently did at the Zen Center, and I happened to use the pod's topic, acceptance. So, enjoy. All right. Okay. Morning. So the topic today is acceptance. And so I was asked to give a talk on acceptance from a Buddhist perspective. And so the practice of acceptance is a pretty big part of Zen practice, because it's very closely tied to this notion of non-attachment. And but I think it's easy to misinterpret, because often non-attachment means, or is interpreted as meaning detached, or not caring, or there's this distance that sometimes I think people associate with it, and it's actually not possible to care. We're human, right? We're built to care. Thousands, and you could argue millions of years of evolution have brought us to this point where we care about the people around us. And so it's not possible to not care. And acceptance or non-attachment, sometimes people interpret that as meaning no opinion, never have an opinion. I'll tell you, I've organized groups of Zen teachers before, and I'll tell you, that is a group with opinions. That is what you call herding cats. So it's not about not having opinion. It's something a little different, and that's what I wanted to talk about. What is this? What is acceptance? What is non-attachment? Another aspect is in Zen we have this, or in Buddhism, I should say, Mahayana Buddhism at least, we have this idea of the Bodhisattva, right? So we are here to save all sentient beings. How can you save all sentient beings if you don't care? But at the same time, what does it mean? What does acceptance mean? What does acceptance mean in that context? And so usually when we talk about acceptance, this is usually what you hear. Just let go. Or my personal favorite, it is what it is. And so just to play with those a little bit. So just let go. To me, that's always, that's a bit like getting a cut on your arm and just saying, just stop bleeding. Just let go. It's about that easy, right? Because it's not easy to let go. So when you get that cut, right, there are things that you can do to stop the bleeding, right? There's a certain way that you go about that. Just like with the practice of letting go, there is definitely a practice that comes with that. But just to tell somebody, just let go, it's almost cruel. So I'm very wary of that phrase, just let go, because it's often not easy to do that, not without practice, without support, without working with things for sometimes long periods of time. And another one, I think this one falls into the pet peeve category of mine. It is what it is. And you can just almost hear the fatalistic, the dukkha just kind of dripping out of that phrase. It is what it is. It's like a fatal resignation. And so for me, that's not acceptance, that's giving in or giving up. It's usually a sigh with it. It is what it is. So acceptance, what does acceptance mean? What does it mean in the context of some of our teaching? So here's one from Trust in the Heart Mind Sutra. Right? And this should be familiar to a lot of you. The great way is not difficult. It simply avoids picking and choosing. When love and hate are both absent, everything dwells in perfect clarity. So how is this different than just letting go? Right? If you're not careful, you can read that. It's almost as if it's saying, well, just don't care, no opinion. But this is a difficult one, but that's not really what it's getting at. I found there's some great talks and articles online on this topic, and I found one that I liked in particular from someone from the Dharma Rain Center, Damyo Burke. And I wanted to quote her a couple times throughout here because I thought she had a good way of putting this, and I like how she put it. What is acceptance? She said, essentially, it means that we stop resisting the way things are and we act in the world without tying everything back to our sense of self. And that last line is important. We act in the world without tying everything back to our sense of self. So often what we're doing is we're anchoring or tying outcomes to our worldview. We're anchoring it to our ego, if you will. Our ego wants things to be a certain way. And when it's not, then we're disappointed. Right? That's where the dukkha comes in. And this ultimately points back to that voice inside of us that says, I want. And we all have that voice. I want, right? I want my friends to be healthy, my family to be safe. I want everyone I know to be happy. I want this damn pandemic to get over with. It's a lot of things I want. But don't forget the don't wants. It's much the same, right? I don't want stress and anxiety. I don't want to worry about my job, my children, this or that. Right? I want. So here's the kicker. The part of you that wants doesn't care when you have. If you ever have, that wanting voice, right, wants to move on to the next thing that it wants. So it's a part of you that is always there. It's a fundamental part of your humanity. This is that inner hoarder, that little voice inside of you that worries about having enough. So it wants more things. It's that inner controller, that little traffic cop inside of you that wants life to happen in a nice, orderly, predictable manner. And it's that inner seeker in you that wants the world to make sense. It's the part of you that's scratching its head wondering, what's wrong with you people? Why can't you think like me? Right? That's that voice in you that wants everyone to just get along, to just make the world make sense. So this wanting side really isn't going anywhere. It's a fundamental part of who we are. But it's a shifting of the view of that aspect of ourselves, because it's not all that bad. It does have a role. So this wanter, this is the part of you that motivates you to work, to grow, to learn. This is the part of you that attempts to bring order to the chaos of the world, right? Laying in the plans for the future, trying to keep you safe. And this is the part of you that is seeking something bigger than you, right? It's motivating your spiritual life, whatever that means for you, whether it's meditation, Zen practice, prayer, whatever it is for you. That wanter is the motivator that drives all of that. So it's really a different way of viewing that aspect of yourself. Not to deny that aspect of ourselves, not to suppress it, not to push it aside, not to not care. Right? Indifference. It is most certainly not that. It's something different. That is a fundamental part of who we are. How do we work with it in a creative way? How do we work with it in a way such that we are anchored to our ego, anchored to requiring things happen in a certain manner? The great way is not difficult. It simply avoids picking and choosing. When love and hate are both absent, everything dwells in perfect clarity. So this isn't telling you to suppress, to set aside that seeker in you. It's a little different. It's more of a balance. We need to grow. We need to learn. We need to strive. We need to seek at times. But in a sense, we also let go of that. Let go in the sense that we work to not tie this back to our ego. And that is a practice. That's something that doesn't happen instantly. That's something you work with. But often in life, we hold on really tight, right? That death grip on outcome. Let loose of that, of the grip, right? Allow things to unfold differently than you expect. That's ultimately the practice. Allow the world to be as it is, not as you sometimes demand it be. And I like to think of Zen practice in particular as walking a path, but never knowing where that next step will take us. never knowing where that next step will take us. So that's the don't know mind. There's nothing wrong with having a path, having opinions, but you don't know where that next step will be. And that's where the real practice is allowing that next step in life to unfold. The beauty of that moment, the flow, the creativity that can come from letting go. So that's in a sense the essence of acceptance. Some things to be careful of, though. It's very easy with a practice like this, any kind of contemplative practice, to kind of go too far to the other side and almost develop an attitude of life can't hurt me. Or worse, this is a little more insidious, life shouldn't bother me. Things shouldn't bother me because I practice, I meditate. So you got to be careful of that. And actually, last time I talked, I gave the story of one of Hakuin's stories, one of the old Zen teachers from China, and he was disheartened as a child because he couldn't understand why this advanced practitioner, this noble teacher that he loved and admired, had been robbed. He was actually caught by thieves on the road and beaten. And how can this enlightened being, this enlightened teacher, feel this physical pain? And he just didn't understand it. And it's interesting looking back now as a modern Western practitioner to not understand, well, how could he expect that, right? How could he expect this person to not feel pain just because they have some level of enlightenment? But we forget we do the same thing. It's just for us, we don't do it physically, we do it mentally. We have this notion that because we practice, because we are been doing this a while, that we shouldn't feel mental pain, mental distress. It's the same thing that Hakuin did. Hakuin couldn't understand why this person felt physical distress. We often forget or expect that we never feel mental distress. It's the same idea. It's the same idea. So we have to be careful of developing those special attitudes, always coming back to accepting the world as it is. And sometimes that means that we feel. Often it means that we feel. Sometimes it's wonderful. Sometimes it's blissful. Sometimes it's difficult. Accepting the moment for what it is, working with the moment for what it is. So, the Bodhisattva path. So, what does acceptance mean in the context of the Bodhisattva path? So we chant the 4 vows of the Bodhisattva. We do it occasionally at the center, but during retreats, we usually do it at the end of the evening. So I'm just going to read through the chant. When I do it this time, I want you to look at it from a fresh perspective. Look at it from the perspective of, on one hand, aspiration, seeking, striving, right? Wanting. But on the other hand, it's balanced with acceptance, right? Seeking and acceptance. So just listen to the words and reflect from that perspective. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Practice paths are boundless. I vow to study them. The enlightened way is incomparable. I vow to embody it. Just that first line. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to free them. The essence of acceptance is right there. Because when you're in this kind of practice, how can you not want to reach out to others, to help others? To do what you can to make everyone happy and safe and secure, and to let go of those silly delusions that we all have. but at the same time, all sentient beings. There's a recognition that there's only so much that we can do. So there's this balance between striving, going forth in the world, doing, and accepting, not tying it back to the ego, not knowing where that next step along the path may take us, being creative as we walk that path, allowing the moment to flow, moment to moment to moment. So I'll come back a little bit to some words that Damyo wrote in our article. Let's see. We stop resisting the way things are, and then we act in the world without tying everything back to our sense of self. Both of these phrases describe how we engage the present moment with our whole body, mind, and heart. And body is an important one, because how do you stop resisting, but as a practice, right? How do you practice acceptance? The key way that I have found is mindfully noticing what's going in the body. It usually comes back to mindfulness with us. It's like we're a one-trick pony, right? But that's a pretty powerful practice. Mindfulness, we just employ it in different ways. Mindfully noticing what's going on in the body, because when we are resisting, when we are wanting, or when we are tied to a specific outcome or way of being or way of thinking, there is usually a physical reaction in the body that comes along with that. There's that part of your body that just goes, and that wanter, right? When it doesn't have it exactly as it wants, it generally makes the body go, just kind of tightens up. For me, it's kind of a little in the chest. For you, it could be a little different. But the practice of acceptance is the practice of noticing those reactions, noticing what happens in the body, taking a moment, working with it. And that can mean different things depending on the situation, but that is the practice. That is really the art and practice of acceptance. Some things to be careful of. Be careful not to let the practice of acceptance become just another attempt at control. That's the thing you have to be careful of with acceptance. Accepting something can be just another way of controlling, right? And you'll see this if you start to ignore things, to resign yourself, to deny things. Right? That's the, it is what it is. So be careful to not turn a practice of acceptance into another control. That's kind of what Hakuin, that was Hakuin's father, right? He expected this practitioner, this enlightened practitioner, to be able to control the physical world around him. And we try to control what's happening mentally. It's just how we are. So acceptance doesn't mean that you have to like or enjoy the moment. Acceptance is recognizing the world for what it really is. Other people for who they really are. And you try to do this without adding yourself into the mix, without layering on my own idiosyncrasies, my own biases, layering that on. It's almost like a cake, and I'm spreading the frosting on top. And the frosting is my ideas and egos and idiosyncrasies and all of that stuff. And then we put the sprinkles on top, because you have to have sprinkles. And that's how we view the world. We don't see the cake because we've got our own stuff layered on top. Right? Your backstory, your judgment, all the expectations. Practice of acceptance is just experiencing it as it is, seeing the world as it is. As best you can, getting the ego, self, out of the way. The great way is not difficult. It simply avoids picking and choosing. When love and hate are both absent, everything dwells in perfect clarity. When you get out of the way, then what? And this is perhaps the ultimate koan, right? If you no longer need to control the world around you, what's next? What's possible? Think of the imagination and creativity and the potential that can come from living in that perspective. Being willing just to take that step. Not be so worried about where that step might lead you. Just boldly take that step. Imagine how different things would be. So that is a practice of acceptance. And ultimately, this comes down to, how do you manifest your Buddha nature? What does it mean to be a bodhisattva? What does it mean to go out into the world and save all sentient beings? And how, in that process, are you accepting that next step? Accepting where it takes you. And at a risk of being a little controversial, one of the things that's important to me is vaccine advocacy for COVID. For me, that's a part of the Bodhisattva path because people are dying. Vaccines are important. So I advocate for this. I talk to people. I work with this because I see this as a critical part of my path. But acceptance has to be there. Acceptance has to be there because I don't know what each conversation will have. I don't know what will be next week or next year. But I take that step. That's my step, my path, part of my path with my practice. So what is uniquely you? What is your next step along this path? What does it mean to be a bodhisattva? So I guess the last thing I'll leave you with is a possible practice. So a way of working with acceptance is when you sit, we've all worked with awake awareness, right? Just kind of sitting in this awake, aware space. So you come to there, start by noticing and welcoming whatever is coming up. This is almost a flavor of a shikantaza practice, right? Just sitting with what is. This is welcoming whatever is happening for you in that moment, whatever that is. And then work on letting go of rating yourself, judging yourselves. And a practice that Damyo suggested that I really like is invite yourself to say, I'm okay. I'm okay. Or if you prefer, we're okay. And sit in gratitude. Sit in gratitude. And with that, you begin to really work with acceptance, non-attachment, taking that next step, not knowing where it'll lead. There's a certain bravery that's required, but there's a beauty there, a creativity. And that's the path we're on. So with that, I'll thank you. So let's try that exercise. Go ahead and settle in. Get comfortable. Chair, cushion, whatever works for you. If you're sitting on a chair, try to just notice your feet on the floor, just that feeling of your body pressing into the chair, the cushion, and just take a few moments and take a few cleansing breaths. In. Out. Maybe smiling to yourself just a little. Now bring your mindful awareness to your entire body. Just head to toe, notice every little nook and cranny of your body, all of its wonderfulness. The good feelings, the aches, the pains, whatever you may have. This is yours, your body. Notice it, and breathing. Now expand your awareness. Notice, to the best of your ability, all of the people surrounding you, near you, the room you're in, maybe expanding to the building, the town. Just kind of bring your awareness to all of Mother Earth. Just sit as a part of the whole. Feeling the body, but aware of the larger self, the larger world. Now, as you hold the world and the world holds you, invite yourself to say, I'm okay. I'm okay. And just kind of repeat that to yourself. Or maybe if you prefer, we're okay. We're okay. Getting yourself out of the way, accepting the world, perfect and imperfect, all at the same time. We're okay. And finally, as you continue to repeat your little mantra, I'm okay, we're okay, see if you can touch a sense of gratitude. Just sit in gratitude as you repeat your mantra. Maybe noticing how you might smile to yourself just a little as you sit in gratitude. Open-hearted awareness, holding the world. Good. Take a few deep breaths. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Welcome back. So I hope this talk on acceptance and our little exercise has been helpful for you. Practice gratitude. Practice not just letting go, but practice noticing when you're holding on. Because noticing when you're holding on is when you have that opportunity to let go a little bit. Let that next step along your path surprise you. Where will you go? Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Keith. Amazing as usual. David, thank you for your earlier inspired present day talk. It was amazing. Thank you. Once again, Mr. Lupo, the man behind the curtain, putting it all together for us and making it look seamless. We are so grateful for you. If you have any needs or desires in the audiovisual department, whether it be live or video or virtual, please give Philip a call and he will take care of all of your needs. Remember, following the morning service from 11:45 to 12:15, we will have a deep dive, an opportunity for us to hang out and visit. The instructions are in the post, and truth is the password. Again, the service is posted at 5:45 again for a second viewing, but we'll also pin that to the top of the page so you can venture back to check it out again. Next week, Shaman Shannon Davis. I'm never going to get that right. Shaman Shannon Davis from the Chicana Center and Donna Frost will bring us our service next week.
Okay, once again, if you would like to donate to this cause, go to www.peopleofdiversity.org. Push that donate button. You can set up a recurring tithe or make a one-time donation. However you want to play is fine with us. We pay our musicians, we pay our speakers, and we pay Philip. We don't pay us. But it takes all of us to keep this going, and it is truly a community effort. So go to that website and kick in. We appreciate it. So let's just take a moment, take a breath, appreciate all the abundance we have surrounding us in our lives and in the pod community, and let's say thank you, Spirit. Thank you for all of the abundance that we have. Thank you for the goodness that comes to us, and most importantly, the goodness that we can send out and the differences we can make in people's lives. And we say we are so grateful, and we say thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, don't click off. The last thing we have to do is our spiritual healing circle. This is something that we can all participate in as a group. We can sit, if you're by yourself or if you're in the middle of a whole bunch of people, it doesn't matter. Sit, take a breath, put your energy out there, connect with us, connect with all of the people in this community, all of the people in this group that right now are doing the same thing. And bring to mind anyone that you know that needs healing, whether that be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever it is. Want to be sure and hold Sensei Dave in the middle of the circle today. Anyone else? And this is really important too. Don't forget to open yourself up, because this is a healing circle. What goes around comes around, and we can all use a little bit of extra loving energy. So send it out and bring it in as we listen to this last song, and we look forward to seeing you in the deep dive. Join us tonight on Facebook Live for the second service, or we will see you next week. Have a good week.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of